Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Lefebvre and today we are on day 1 of our 12 days of holiday card making. So today we are going to be painting something nice and simple, leaves and berries for a beautiful card. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, welcome to our first tutorial of our 12 days of card making. I have my watercolor paper taped down with some cheap painter's tape that I got from the dollar store. I used a 4x6 piece of paper that I cut out from a block of Meeden watercolor paper, and some of them are Academy watercolor paper. I decided to use 4x6 because I don't yet have the cardstock I'm going to put these on afterwards. And I just feel like maybe that might be a good card size, or I might even go to Michael's and get those packs of inexpensive blank cardstock. Cards that are already made with envelopes, so you can just glue it on later. But cut your paper to whatever size you're going to want to make your cards, or whatever size envelope you already have ready. And I used the inexpensive, cheap dollar store painter's tape to tape it down to create a really nice border. I find it's just a little bit easier to work on this way. So if you do end up using lots of water, it's not going to buckle and warp while you're painting. And I used a board in case I want to put this to the side or turn my paper. It'll just be easier on this than it is if I tape it to the table. For my paints, I have that really nice beginner watercolor set. This is the Mei Liang set. I do have some shimmery watercolors here and there in other places that I may use. So if you have those, you can get them out too. I don't know if we'll need it for this one, but if you'd like it, you can get that. And I'm going to be using my size 8 Lefebvre in Craftimo round brush. Has a beautiful point. It's a really nice size. I also have my paper towel and water, and we're ready to go. For this design, I want to do kind of like just simple greenery and foliage. I think that's a really great place to start working on our pressure strokes. So I'm just going to grab a really quick scrap piece of paper. If you want to practice first, if you're not as familiar with this, I'm just going to show you kind of the strokes that we are doing. So for this, you actually only need 2 colors for the whole card. You're going to need some red and green. Now, we're going to be doing some simple leaf shapes for our greenery. And in order to do that, all you're going to do is this simple brush stroke, which is called the light to heavy to light pressure stroke. And all you're going to do is you're going to put the tip down of your brush, you're going to slowly drag and apply pressure to the belly, and then you're going to keep dragging while lifting your brush so you get this beautiful leaf shape. Now, if you do this and there's a little puddle at the end of your leaf, when that dries, it's going to separate and cause some, hard lines. If you do not like that look, all you have to do is just go over the whole leaf and just distribute the water evenly. And if it seems like there's a lot of water on it, you can tap your brush on your paper towel and just mop some of that up. But that's really the stroke. Now you can do smaller leaves like this, or you can combine the stroke, go back to where you started, do the same thing, kind of curve it around and make a bigger leaf shape. All right. So this is our pressure stroke. So it's great practice to do this, and we're going to be creating some beautiful foliage. So I like to create a little stem when I do this, and I'll like go and branch off. Whenever you're doing a stem or a sprig of leaves, make sure to have that nice curved line. It looks a little odd when it's really stark, like straight line. So same thing with the little stems that come off of it. You don't want a right angle for these leaves. You want to think of a V shape. So a little V like that, where it branches off instead of coming straight out to the side. It just flows so much better. So then you're going to do your pressure stroke, pressure stroke, pressure stroke. Now, if you'd like to just practice doing this for a while, you definitely can. The other element that we are going to be doing in this card tutorial are some berries. Now, this is one of my favorite ways to do berries. You're going to take a darker value of your color, meaning more paint than water, so it's nice and dark. And all you're going to do is create these little circle shapes. You can leave a little bit of white space if you like for a highlight, or you can add it later with some opaque white paint. And you're going to stagger these berries so they're not touching. Then you're going to rinse off your brush so it's nice and clean, dab it on your paper towel so it's just a little bit damp, and you're going to go back, and with that clean water, you're just going to touch the berries, and that red color from the berries is going to bleed into these new shapes, these new circles that you're putting down. And naturally, they're going to be a lot lighter than those first berries you put down. So it gives a beautiful contrast and variety of values within the berries. And then you can take some brown and we can create stems. Now, if you only have red and green watercolor, good news for you, you can actually mix a brown with just those two colors. They are contrasting colors that sit opposite from each other on the color wheel. You mix them equal parts and you get a beautiful brown. So you can touch the, ooh, that's a lot. This is what happens. I'm going to show you why. I had too much water and pigment on my brush. If this happens, all you have to do, mop it up, wash off your brush, just grab a little bit of that color, go back over it. And now this time when I go back, I'm only going to take a little bit of my brown. Just going to grab a bit more color, tap it on my paper towel first. Now when I touch it, it's only going to be a small bleed, and I'm going to try and drag it away from the berry. So touch and drag away, touch, drag away. Okay, and then I won't get those really heavy bleeds. If I drag towards the berry, the little explosion of color is going to be right on the berry. So I definitely suggest just touching slightly and dragging away. But again, if that little explosion happens and you get a little bit of brown on your berry, that's totally okay. And those are the two elements that we're going to be doing. Now, as far as composition, you could go any way. Don't feel like you have to do exactly what I'm doing. I actually might turn this to the side, and I'm going to have these berries and leaves coming from the top corner so we can write our little message right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with some green. I have this dark kind of foresty green, which I think is really beautiful. You could do like a bluish green, any kind of green you like. And I'm going to start from up here, and I'm just going to drag a stem. I'm going to do a couple of little branches kind of coming off like that. And I'm going to do my leaf stroke like that. Then I'm going to wash off my brush a little bit and do a lighter value. So it's a lot lighter than our first one. It's going to touch that darker one just so we have a little bit of contrast. Again, I'm going to do another light one over here. And it's beautiful when you have different values within your greenery. It's really pleasing to the eye where it's not all super saturated dark colors. I'm going to do one up here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to have another one kind of branching down this way. Like that. Maybe I'll have one kind of coming this way. And we are going to place some berries in there. Haven't figured out exactly where yet, but we're going to. I'm going to do a little leaf over here. And you can just kind of go back and forth from it being really dark and saturated, a dark value with your color, to light values. Okay, I'm going to wash off my brush a bit. Use just water to get those lighter values. With our lighter ones, we could always tap a little bit of that dark color in there. Like that. Wash off my brush, do a lighter one over here. You could also have them vary in size. They don't have to be super big. Like so. I'm going to do one over here. Like that. Okay, now let's put some berries in there as well. So I'm going to grab some of my red, and I'm going to start to place some of these dark berries. I'm going to do two here. I'm going to do one over here, one over here, one over here, One here, one here. And they're pretty dark and have a good amount of water in them. Now, if you look at your leaves and you're getting one of these kind of like blooms from that light to dark and you don't like that, you can always just go over while it's still wet and just kind of fix it a little. Just a little tip there, okay? Okay, now while these berries are still wet, my clean, slightly damp brush, I'm gonna do my little circles, gently touching. Like that. And it just gives such a nice look when you have that dark and light red. See how that looks so nice together? Just a little cluster of berries. Like so. Now I'm going to grab some red and green. I'm going to make some brown. Or if you have brown watercolor, obviously that works too. And I'm just going to do tiny little stems. That can be coming from the leaves, wherever you'd like. So obviously there's still some white space. This little bit right here, I feel like I need to add something. So now I'm gonna kind of gauge how everything is placed, and I'm just gonna go around and fill in some areas that could use a little bit of maybe leaves or some more berries. And there we go. There are our beautiful leaves. So now I want it to completely dry. I'm going to finish it off with a border using some gold watercolor once it's completely dry and a little message down below. All right, and there we go. You can write whatever you'd like on your card. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, 'tis the season, anything you'd like. I added the border by moving down the tape just a little bit so I could use the tape as a guide with a little bit of gold. But if you don't have gold, you could always use red or green or anything that goes with it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this first tutorial. Let me know how you liked it in the comments below, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something, and I will see you for our next tutorial tomorrow. Bye, guys.